Deputy Speaker. And
Good morning, and a very special thank you to all of you, our media guests here today. As you know, this event is to officially launch the important partnership between the Forest Foundation Philippines and the Government of Canada. I believe the past few weeks of extreme heat have made it very clear climate change must be addressed, and there is no better way to do this than nature-based solutions, green solutions. Before we proceed with the Q&A, just a few reminders. Kindly state your name and the publication you represent if you have a question. Questions related to PCP for NBS will only be entertained during the Q&A. And should you have any other requests or concerns, kindly reach out to Evident PR. They're the beautiful ladies in the black collared shirts with the letter E, the red E. So if you have any special requests, you can just ask those lovely ladies over there. So with that, I'm officially opening this media event. Does anyone have a question to start with? Because if not, I do. This is my chance. So let's start the conversation with what are the goals of the partnership to any of our esteemed guests. Who wants to take this one? Want to grab a mic, Ms. Edwina?
Thanks. Is that right?
Yeah, just need to hit it on. There you go.
There you go. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, the goals of the partnership. As Secretary mentioned earlier, the damage and deforestation that has been done already will take more than a few months or years to correct and transform. So our goal, our goals for the program are basically to support regeneration of ecosystems and habitats, looking at not only enjoying the habitats or ecosystems for what they are, but also so that we can help support them in providing ecosystem services to communities. So the goal is really that, is to improve our ecosystem services that our ecosystems provide, and at the same time supporting communities in making good decisions about the resources that they are using. We are also adding a stronger gender and inclusivity lens in this program, so supporting women and individuals in their pursuit of greater biodiversity and improved ecosystem management. I think both Secretary and Ambassador can add to that as well.
Thank you. I think first and foremost our goals in this is to really deepen the engagement between Canada and the Philippines. As I mentioned in my introductory comments earlier this morning, the Philippines is a priority partner for Canada. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that this is predicated upon our people-to-people relationship. We're very proud to have over 1 million Canadian citizens of Filipino heritage in Canada, so it doesn't get much more real than helping to meet people at that local community level to address their ability to respond and to adapt to climate change. So our goals are really broad brush. The specifics of the goals, I think, as you'll hear today, are very niche, but it's about building capacity, right? And again, we're very keen to be able to work in a priority area, frankly, for Canada, for the Philippines, and indeed for all of humanity, to help really address some of the most significant impacts of climate change by utilizing nature. And I think as the chairperson has suggested, it's very important for us to be able to help focus on priority communities, stakeholder communities, a primary focus on women, Indigenous peoples, etc. These are priority areas for the Government of Canada as we have articulated in our policy, and it's just also things that we do because it just simply makes common sense. So for us, it's about building this partnership, growing this partnership, and it's one of many examples that we have of wanting to work together further with the Philippines in this important milestone year for us as we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the establishment of Canada-Philippine diplomatic relations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador and Chairperson Edwina. For the department in particular, what we would like to do is drive home a number of points. The first one is that economic development depends on the environment. So the economy belongs to the environment and not the other way around. Secondly, science is needed and partnerships are critical to delivering sound and evidence-informed solutions to the impacts of climate change. Third, partnerships need not just be between national and local government. We are very, very grateful for the partnership between NGOs such as FFB, but also our development partners and our country partners such as Canada. This cannot happen without the cross-section of our efforts happening at the local level in order to ensure both ecosystem integrity, but also livelihoods and the resilience of communities, and at the same time, the contributions that our ecosystems actually deliver to industry, to the different sectors, to agriculture, to energy, and water in terms of security for development. Here, there is a specific emphasis on the role of gender in vulnerability management, in risk management, and in development. And this is a real opportunity for us to focus on the value of the contributions of women, especially those in indigenous communities who actually live this truth every day firsthand. Thank you.
Thank you. So just another question, how do nature-based solutions contribute to mitigating climate risks? Maybe we can share, just because this is, goes down to all levels of society, so that's an important question.
Thank you for that question. As you know, climate action consists of two very deliberate tracks. One is mitigation, which is the reduction of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, but adaptation in order to make sure that our development is risk-informed and therefore resilience actually is achieved by bringing the science into decision-making at the different levels, whether it be globally, whether it be nationally or locally. On nature-based solutions for mitigation, we all know the value of our forests, for example, both green and blue, in the sequestration and stock of carbon. That must happen hand in hand with adaptation. We all know the value of our forests in terms of managing soil erosion, managing floods, delivering water to our communities. Our mangroves and seagrasses are also part of food security, are also part of storm surge protection, are also part, at the end of the day, of our work in contributing to the global stability of climate. Oceans are a critical part of our work, and in this particular opportunity, with the emphasis on coastal and marine communities, we have a new contribution to that climate regulatory function globally as well. So there are both mitigation and adaptation, nature-based contributions, but here at the end of the day, as well as disaster risk reduction in terms of our own vulnerability as a country.
If I can add to that. So ecosystems obviously provide services to communities, and one of those is resilience. So we all know that a healthier ecosystem, a more biodiverse ecosystem, is a more resilient one, and one that can support communities. So the effort to bring science to community decision making is something that we really like to focus on in terms of climate and nature-based solutions. I think one of the goals is really for communities to be more informed, better informed, so that they can make better decisions and truly make effective decisions and genuinely as part of the ecosystem where they live. So when we're talking about people in the margins of the forest, we're talking about the species in the margins of the forest or in the forest. We'd like to support more resilient ecosystems for greater resilience in the Philippines and globally. And between science and communities, I think there's definitely a chance there.
And if I could just add to that, I mean, obviously the secretary and the chairperson have eloquently, addressed some of the issues in great depth. And for us, it was about partnering with a local partner who has that technical expertise, the subject matter expertise, to be able to implement this project in what we anticipate to be a remarkably successful way. So really it is for us to align ourselves, our efforts, in contribution to the benefit and the betterment of the ecosystem in the Philippines, to work with an organization, a partner like the Forest Foundation of the Philippines, who truly is world class. And we know that will help bring to fruition, I think, the results that we're all eagerly seeking.
We'll take questions from the media if we have one.
Hi, good morning. Greg Matingrane from the Philippine Daily Inquirer. I have two questions. First, how will the partnership ensure that its nature-based solutions are scalable for nationwide implementation? That's question number one. And number two, where is the pilot implementation of the program? And do you have plans of expanding this to other parts of the country as well? Thank you.
I feel like you read my mind. I was going to ask if you guys could share some of the framework of how we get this information into the local communities. Thank you for that question, those questions.
If I can start. So, first of all, how will the partnership ensure scalability, right? That's your first question. We are starting, and this will in part answer your other question of where we're starting. So we're starting in areas of high biodiversity and great vulnerability. Areas that are degraded, but have still quite high biodiversity, and communities that are already acting to participate and participating in rehabilitation and management of their areas. So we will develop the proof of concept, I guess, or the proof that this can work with these initial communities in Negros, in Calamianes, in Batanes, and in Camarines, in Mindanao, in Davao as well, of course. And the idea really is to start with communities that are already working in this field, in these initiatives, to build stronger relationships between communities, the work they do, and the ecosystems. Now, once we have been successful or have had greater success in those areas, we will have the lessons learned that we can use to scale across the country, and that's really the hope. Is to find solutions that will work in other parts of the Philippines as well. And I think to add to that as well is the idea, what we're also trying to look into is how to find sustainable financial solutions as well for these efforts, and so that they can be self-sustaining at some point in the future. But without this, first initially with this fund, because without it, I think we would have difficulty actually even beginning.
The only quick thing that I can add to that is, as they say, nothing begets a success like a success. So we're really quite hopeful that these initiatives, working with stakeholder communities that have been thoroughly researched and vetted by our partners in the Forest Foundation Philippines, will really help us work in a bit of a catalytic way just to scale up over time, to build that subject knowledge, expertise, to learn from what best practices underway as well, and then to really take those and apply them across the board in the Philippines. And that is certainly something that the Government of Canada will be quite keen to continue to partner with Forest Foundation Philippines and others as the Philippines helps to address some of the challenges that it's experiencing.
Thank you. On the part of the DNR, as you know, we work at various levels. There is a community level, a province level, and a regional level. And so what we aim to do is strengthen the delivery of technical expertise, as well as the current basket of tools that we actually use in order to protect and enhance our ecosystems, and work with communities in biodiversity friendly and climate resilient ways. We do have that structure, that organization, and we're in the midst of improving it and enhancing what we're able to deliver by way of environmental governance. the choice of the sites, of high biodiversity sites that are already experiencing great vulnerability is one that's crucial for us. We work with FFP at this time, but we also work with other members of the private sector, other NGOs, other international organizations to actually enrich the work of the DNR. We also work with higher education institutions, and this is something that we are deepening and to deliver more evidence-informed decision-making throughout all the different levels and across different sectors. Extremely important to work vertically, but also extremely important to understand interconnectedness. And therefore, the decision-making needs to reflect our sensitivity to what other sectors need in order for us to be sustainable at the very local level.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jackie Pascual from ABS-CBN. I think this was mentioned earlier, but I just want to ask for more information. What exactly are nature-based solutions, and can you give examples of that? And how does this difference? What's the difference between the previous or the usual things that we do? Thank you.
Well, you've actually hit it on the head. We've been doing elements of this work already for many years. The Forest Foundation since 2002, and I'm sure communities even before that. Ecosystem work or sort of conservation work and ecosystem rehabilitation work is known to everyone already. But I think where nature-based solutions is slightly different is that it really brings together the community, the individuals, the climate, and biodiversity conservation together. So we're articulating that interrelationship better through NBS. And the idea as well is that these nature-based solutions are not only working in that nexus of climate, biodiversity, and communities, but also they should be scalable. So where maybe in the past, these were not articulated so well, now we're definitely articulating them better. The other aspect I think that we would really like to look at, as I mentioned earlier, is developing the baskets of blended finance that will make these initiatives, these nature-based solutions, more sustainable as we go along. So again, we've done all of the different aspects of this work, but it's just bringing them all together and articulating them in that way to support each other.
Shall I add?
Yes.
Thank you. So just to further build on what Chairperson Edwina has said, what we at the DNR are looking at is really how do our natural resources and the different ecosystems wherein they are located continuously support our effort to achieve climate resilience and sustainable development. So this is using the natural system, but how it's already impinged by human systems and engineered systems actually need to be addressed in order for us to be able to confront our adaptation needs. Basically for food, for water, and of course for biodiversity, because all of that really is linked to each other. In terms of intersections, we really find nature-based solutions at the forefront of where risk is created by the intersection of social, political, cultural geographies in our country. It's all local. And unless we are able to understand how our ecosystems are actually the lifeblood of our community resilience, of our national resilience, we will not be able to actually capitalize, to work on, to enhance what they are delivering by way of value to sustainable development. So these are where the DNR actually would like to work and are very honored to work with the FFP, of course with the government of Canada, to bring these types of solutions forward, both mitigation, adaptation, and disaster risk reduction.
Good morning. Joel Santos from the Manila Bulletin. This question is directed to Secretary Laizaga. Recently, Yusek David said the water level of Petro Manila's primary water source Angat Dam is quite alarming due to the El Niño phenomenon. Will the DENR impose extreme measures to conserve water? If yes, what are these measures?
Thank you for that question. I should blame Yusek David for that. Yusek David is, just by way of introduction, Yusek Carlos Primo David is our Undersecretary for Integrated Environmental Science. This is a new office that we created under this administration to actually make sure that the interconnectedness of each bureau's work actually works towards the singular goal of sustainable development. So in terms of UNGAD, we work very actively with different concessionaires as well as MWSS to see how we might be able to continuously deliver water supply. There will be announcements that are forthcoming, but as of this moment, my understanding is that we, as much as possible, would not like for water disruptions to actually happen. And therefore, managing the flow, the pressure, would be one of those ways by which we can continuously assure that delivery of water actually reaches all our communities. For the moment, this is what we're doing. We do not anticipate, as you might say, extreme, and I don't know what you might mean by that, but in our interpretation, cutting off water as far as rationing is not part of our discussion.
Follow-up question, ma'am. Will we impose fines? For example, are we still allowing car washing in Metro Manila or other parts of the Philippines and other activities, using water, a lot of water?
Well, there are advisories on how you can conserve water. What we are doing is we're saying we need to anticipate the need for conservation. Okay, the imposition of fines is not within our authority. However, we do request the local governments to actually work with their constituents in order to observe conservation on the ground. And that's where we have to work through as part of the government's decision to actually aggressively address the current shortage of supply.
Hello, good morning. To anyone who can answer, do you have a particular timetable as to when people can start experiencing what you hope to achieve with these nature-based solutions, like say in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, we've been doing ecosystem conservation and rehabilitation work for a long time. The efforts that we will do through this program will enhance and complement what's already being done. In terms of the time frame for us to benefit from these efforts, I think that's it's a little difficult to say, we're going to feel better in 6 months, it won't be as hot anymore. I think that's a bit difficult to say. However, if we can get communities and decision-making agencies to work together, then we're hoping that, within 3 to 5 years, we will experience some benefit. And really, maybe not so much in Metro Manila. We may not have a lowering of temperatures magically, but certainly we hope that communities will be able to feed themselves better, will be more resilient as we go. And the hope, of course, is within 3 to 5 years, the communities feel some improvement or positive impact these efforts.
Hi, good morning. Check Tony, this is for you. I might be getting ahead of myself, but I wanted to ask if this program aligns with our National Adaptation Plan and ultimately our NDC.
Thanks, Biana. As I said in my opening message, this falls squarely within the National Adaptation Plan and what it actually aims to achieve, which is climate resilience. What we've done, as you know, in the NAP, is we've ranked the different provinces according to certain climate scenarios and their exposure to different parameters. For example, the heat index, sea level rise, stronger typhoons. There are communities here in this particular project that are well within the ranking of climate risk. And so we hope that in fact this will blend into the work that the government is supporting by way of the National Adaptation Plan. Similarly, on the NDCIP, particularly in the agricultural sector. We know that there is a large part of our methane that is contributed by our rice growing methods. We're looking at how we can manage ecosystems better so that wet and dry rice growing methods can actually lend themselves better to methane reduction. So these are well within both NDCIP and the NAP.
Let's follow up on what you went to Singapore last time to talk about the carbon markets. Is this also connected to?
Ultimately, we know that there is a connection between our forests and carbon sequestration, even our soils and carbon stock. And so we're looking to see how, in fact, linking ourselves to the global carbon market might be able to bring an additional stream to the blended finance needs that will actually allow for the sustainability of our biodiversity and the ecosystems within which they are located. And so we need to think holistically, and that would be, of course, one of the streams. Additionally, we're looking at the work of philanthropies. We're looking at the work of the corporate sector, specifically on investing in adaptation, mitigation, disaster risk reduction beyond their fence lines. So that means beyond their operations, and seeing how their investments can actually benefit communities in terms of inclusive and resilient climate development.
And if I could just quickly add to that, I mean, it really truly is a tremendous pleasure and honor for the Government of Canada to be able to provide assistance that really squarely meets policy, a national policy objective of the Government of the Philippines, and the DNR in particular. So, there's lots of ways in which we can contribute, and this is something that we're trying to do, is to more strategically align to ensure that the funding and the assistance, the technical expertise, the financing that the Government of Canada and the people of Canada are providing fully aligns with the policy and priority objectives of the Government of the Philippines.
Just add one thing. I just would like to add, and I said this earlier, the Canadian government has been a very generous supporter of biodiversity and ecosystem resilience in the Philippines. And a lot of our global environment facilities grants have been either contributed to or have come from solely the Government of Canada. We need to understand that this is the kind of transformative work that is needed and transformative finance that is needed in order to actually scale solutions for the country. So on that note, we're deeply grateful to this partnership as well.
Any more questions? If that's it, I'd like to thank all of you, media, for being here today. Your presence is also critical. I think everyone in this room has a responsibility, and the value that you guys bring, in my opinion, is raising awareness. Some of the takeaways I got from just what was shared was this partnership is to enhance what is already being done, aligning with all stakeholders, which is from up here to down here, and that the Government of Canada is here to support and is also in alignment with these goals to support the Philippines. Hopefully I'm not speaking out of line here and I nailed it, thank you. So I would like to ask on behalf of the Forest Foundation, Philippines, and Global Affairs Canada, if you could use your voices to help spread awareness, because this affects all of us. We've all felt it the past couple of weeks, I think. And this is where your expertise is of a huge value. So thank you again. We are very grateful for you guys being here, and we're grateful for you helping us spread awareness of this initiative. Thank you, if I didn't say that 100 times. Thank you again to our esteemed guests.